keep, for those of you watching, we're on the journey to understand about decision-making choices and how things can shape you to who you are and what you are, right? Okay, so you said you became a wife. We talked about the barber, then you became a wife. What did being a wife, how did that groom you or shape you? What did you get from that?
Well, you know, although my stepfather was abusive to my mother, I still grew up in a two-family household. Then I moved with my grandmother in Chicago, and it was my grandfather.
Okay.
And so I used to watch her. She always had his Pepsi and his water and his dinner, and she made 3 meals a day on the weekend. Like,
so
my
you
grandmother was an in-house.
You saw that.
I liked it.
Okay, and then when you became wife, were you like that? Okay, so you learned that part. You got it modeled in front of you. So you did have indirect mentorship on that.
Yes.
Did you ever see them argue?
Who?
Your grandma?
No.
Really?
They separated, actually, shortly after I moved in. And I kind of thought it may have been me.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It was whatever that issue was.
But you never saw it.
But
It
I
was
never
probably
saw them
behind
argue.
closed doors. Yeah.
And my grandmother, when I say she's a Christian woman, like, she doesn't speak ill, she doesn't gossip about people, that's who she is. Her name is Miss Pearl.
Do you think you got some of that from her?
Yeah, in learning certain things the hard way. And then going through hard times, I reflect back at my grandmother like, wow, she never judged me. She
was there. Yeah, it didn't look how you wanted to be when you think back it was.
Oh my God. And just even being a mother of 4 kids, like, taking on some 13-year-old girl. And then she had a daughter that was 12 years old. So I had
stepsister.
Well, she was my aunt, technically.
Oh, God, yeah.
But we grew up together. But when I say Jenny, because she was from Chicago, when I say she protected me and she always treated me, you know, even when we were young, she was like, people going to think you cute, but don't let them take advantage of you. And so she would always come to bat.
So it was still coming, yeah. Okay, so what did you, from being a wife, what was your first job as a wife, after wife and mother and all that? What was your first professional career since you had been married?
I opened up a boutique.
Selling what?
In Homewood, a children's boutique, because I got pregnant with my first child a year after we got married. And then I used to shop like so crazy for my daughter and all these expensive European clothes or whatnot. And my ex-husband was an entrepreneur, but I was always helping him with his whatever endeavors that he wanted to do.
So you picked that up.
So that's what really kind of put the seed of entrepreneurship in me, is because I was always helping him with his businesses. Okay. And then when I decided...
And it came easy to you?
It did.
And what part of it? Was it the money side, the relationship side? Was it the excitement of finishing? What part of it you think was appealing to you?
You know what? I think because I didn't have any guidance, I never saw failure. I was, you know, when they say you have nothing to lose kind of thing?
Yeah.
Like, I never even look at anything like, but what if it fails?
You don't even consider it.
It's not even a thought, because I'm just like, okay, we're going to do this? Oh, okay.
Jump in. Okay. Now, you said the boutique. When did you get to the agency, and what made you even do that?
So that's like, yeah. So that's okay. So we did. So I had a boutique called Butterflies and Mud Pies that was in Homewood. It was a beautiful place. It looked like it would. It looked like you could have put it in Lincoln Park. Really? Yeah, it was beautiful.
Who decorated it?
I did.
So you said it was called the
Butterflies and Mud Pies.
And you decorated yourself. Where'd you pull from that to get that? Like, can you draw?
I used to.
How you forget how to draw?
I don't forget, but I just don't do it anymore.
So you drew the whole space?
Well, I sketched it out. Because remember, I initially was going to school for architecture.
Okay. And then when you first put it together, you was fulfilled? Did it feel like this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life?
No, I never thought about what I was doing for the rest of my life.
You just was in the moment?
That's kind of how I live.
In the moment?
And maybe that's why I'm not scared. As I get older, I start thinking more like that, but I think maybe because I'm living in the moment, I don't think about what if this happens, because I'm not even thinking about an hour from now. I'm thinking about right now.
How is it with all of these? Was it ever people on your team, or was it always just you? Like with the boutique, did you have employees? Was it just you?
No, actually, I had my best friend at the time. I was in high school. She was a partner.
What was her role?
She kind of like helped just run it with me.
So you had the vision. Did you start the vision?
Yeah, I just brought her in.
And you was like, this is what you're going to do. So you was telling her what to do, and she kind of went along with it?
I mean, I didn't tell her what to do. We were collaborating together. Because I trust her opinion in like clothes and stuff. And she would sometimes take trips with me to New York when I bought the clothes and stuff.
Okay. Okay, so you would just do it.
Yes.
So did y'all ever have a falling out when it came to...
No, we didn't fall out. Thank God.
Over the thing? Never argue about anything? Y'all always in agreement?
No, we would have... Yeah, sometimes we may feel a certain way, But that's why I say that was a true friend, because we're still friends today.
Yeah.
Because that didn't break us up.
It didn't. And what made the business stop? That one.
We went to a recession.
Oh, and that just killed it.
Yeah, because Bella was born, because I was pregnant with my second daughter, and she's born in 2004. So it was right around that time where there was a recession happening.
And that killed it.
And yeah, I mean, I had $150 shoes for toddlers. So
that wasn't popping. And then what was the next big venture after that?
So I do like to cook a lot, so I start catering.
Wow.
So I started doing that, and then I was thinking about doing a food truck.
So break this down to me. So how does it go for you? Do you be sitting there watching like Channel 7 and they'll say food expose, like,
Or
I'm
Food
finna
Network.
do it. And you just be like, I'm finna do it. Is that how it goes?
No, it doesn't necessarily go like that, but I just think that
How much thought go into it before the action?
it's thought and feeling.
Vibes.
Yeah.
So like your gut. You and your gut are friends.
Yeah, me and my gut are friends. And then it attracts certain things. So then, just say someone comes to me and be like, I have a food truck. Do you want to buy it? It's almost
And
like
it's
it
right
just
around the
drops out
time.
the sky
So
kind of
right
thing.
when you're thinking about it, if something comes in that moment,
Then
you
I
just
feel like,
like,
oh, okay, this is supposed to happen.
Confirmation. So if you have a thought and things don't come, you're like, well, I'm not supposed to do it.
Yeah, because it's been a lot of those.
Really?
Yeah, like I used to make these rum cakes. They were nuts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then we took it to the casinos, and they wanted to place an order. And then I was like, I'm not about to be in my kitchen baking rum cakes. But that probably could have been a really lucrative business. But I was like, I don't want to do this.
Because you was going with the feeling. You wasn't
For
looking
the moment,
at the...
but then I still was like, I don't want to.
But here's the thing. So in that moment, when you partner with somebody who's analytical and system-based, they'll say, oh, no, okay, give me the recipe, da-da-da.
That would have been different.
Yeah.
I've never had that.
Because then they can take the idea and say, we'll just pay you to supervise me
Patty
training.
cakes, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Like the patty pie.
Yeah, well, it would have been patty cake.
But can you sing too?
No.
Okay, so no
I thought
singing.
I could, though.
All right, so now we got...
Still, I didn't win a talent show, but go ahead. That's
so we got
story.
the catering, and then how long did you do catering for? How long was the catering?
I would cater off and on because I did it for what did I do? I did it for like a Father's Day thing for my husband and his brothers and his father, and it was so good that people couldn't believe that I had done it. This is like my daughter had to be like 2-3 years old. And they were like, because I love brunching, right?
You like brunches?
I love to go out to eat, period.
Why?
Because I love food and I love presentation.
Oh.
So I used to love the Clubhouse brunch. That was in Oak Brook. I don't even know if they're still there. They're still there. They used to have a really good brunch. And I mimicked that for Father's Day. I was like, let's do a Father's Day brunch. And so I remember doing that. And I had kind of like potluck, but I did like the basis of everything.
And this is all you, no team.
No. I mean, no, collectively, like maybe I had my sister-in-law help.
But you go get the help when you need it.
Yes. And that's probably a weakness of mine. I don't delegate like I should, but I'm learning how because I'm getting older and I can't handle everything.
Once we do her strength test, we'll find out.
Okay.
Why.
Yes. Well, because I can only rely on myself.
The assessment.
Period.
Will explain.
Okay.
So we still haven't got to the agency.
Oh, I know.
Where's how many?
Well, I got another. Okay, so I got one more major thing that happened.
Was that?
Then we had the opportunity to open up a healthcare facility for it's called a day program, and we had doctors in there.
That was your idea?
It wasn't necessarily my idea. It was my husband's brother. He had one.
Okay, so he explained it to y'all, and it was
lucrative. He was like, if you guys go find a nursing home to do it, then I'll let you guys end up doing the transportation on it. I said, oh, that's it?
So that was something, it wasn't a passion or a thing that you enjoyed. You saw that it was lucrative, and he had said it was easy to get into.
Well, it wasn't necessarily as easy. Well, he said, go do it, but then I went and I found several senior homes to the point that the clinic wasn't big enough. So
capacity.
So we ended up, that was a big family feud we had eventually. We've all made up now since then. But I was like, I'll start going to the nursing homes, And I was like a pharmaceutical rep practically. And I just went to all these and I got all these accounts. And I had made up a name. I was like, Better Day. It's called Better Day.
He just went and did it.
Yeah. Then I made up brochures and pamphlets. And
it was a real thing.
no, and I had like over 100 clients.
All right, so you said what we just say?
I did I said I know I can activate pretty much
Right.
anything. I'm not scared to start anything.
And I was saying, do you get bored? And you said,
Yeah, I mean, you know what? The clinic, only reason why we stopped that is because the state stopped giving funding, right?
so you would have kept doing it.
I would have, because it was lucrative. But was I
Okay.
necessarily fulfilled? I was fulfilled because we were helping people. Because we did it so well. Like, it was a
Yeah.
legitimate, it wasn't like a money grab or anything like that. Because that's the thing. That's what we saw. These other clinics were so horrendous. And I couldn't believe that. I was like, you could just care a little bit. And I do care, you know? So we were making, it was lucrative, but we actually had people in there that cared. I cooked. Like, I would be cooking the food
yeah,
in
you
there.
had that.
Yeah.
So imagine, so all of these things that you've done so
I drew
far,
murals on the wall
everything
in the clinic.
everything that you've done, have you passed any of that down?
To
Like is it canonized? Like, for example, the boutique. If I said, "Hey, Patty, I want to do a boutique," do you have something to hand me? Did you hand it like?
It's so different now to start boutiques now, and like right
Yeah.
now, because I slowly was going to go to an online boutique. Everything that I could have done, I would be insane. It would be insane now, because I would just like let it go and then keep it moving. They were like, "You need to be one of the leaders." And
They had a mission for you.
They had a mission, because when I said I would go to I brought so many people to that church. I literally be in the mall.
Influential. You influential.
No, and I would. It was
What'd that say?
who, not how.
So the
Who,
book
Not
I was
How.
talking about, Who Not How, somebody told me about it. But with that book, it talks about finding a who to do things. So like if you have an idea for something, like I'm a who for people. You a who for people. People are who's.
Yeah.
Like when you need something done, a who is who you think of. So I say all that to say full circle, when you had the idea for the boutique, and then that's a great idea. So if somebody asks me, I want to do a boutique, who would be you to get the knowledge? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then if I sit and I just interview you, what should I do? What'd you do? Just listen to your story, and I put it in a way I can take that and sell that as a thing.
Yeah.
So people now are doing that. Like they'll find a person.
I see. It's like big business doing
Yeah,
that.
they'll do a thing, but like the originators and the people with the ideas, the movers, they steady focused. They doing it. They're not thinking about what's behind them on the side, but somebody else is looking like you have something that works. I have a episode I did where this guy, he's a designer, and he designs stuff for churches. He
Okay.
designs like this. So this guy was watching what he was doing, and he said, "I'll pay you, I think like $10,000 to teach me this specific thing." He looking like, okay.
Yeah.
So he taught him. I think dude made like 60 off what he taught him.
Yeah.
So when you look at it, if with you having, I did the catering, I did this, they have all this information. If it was like, okay, and that's one of my strengths is strategic. That's one of my strengths from the assessment that we're going to do.
Okay.
So I do with strategic. When I look at stuff, I'm like, okay, this person know this. They need this. Okay, cool. All right. Let me put this in the format that this person, cause I can talk on both sides.
Yeah.
And you need this here. I don't have to have any talent. I have talent.
Yeah.
But if you understand how people move, with creatives and free spirits, a lot of times, they don't think of this side over here. And people over here don't know how to approach them.
Yeah.
So when I'm listening to your story as you've been going along, you've been doing all these things, and these are all things that can be still running and producing, but you don't have to really be involved. But we'll get to that after your assessment.
Okay.
All right. So
Okay. So then before
what's the next
that,
one?
okay, so then I did the clinic, and then of course, but then, you know, we made a lot of money, but then when they stopped paying, then we went through our savings trying to keep everyone on board, because then we end up getting taken over by FQHC, that's a federally qualified health center, because they were still the ones that could do it. Long story short, that didn't work out. They brought me on as the director of whatever, but I'm not a doctor. I just hired them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that was short lived anyway. And
Do you
then,
feel like God put you in that position?
Yeah.
Because you really wasn't qualified.
I 100. Well, not necessarily.
Not like
they
that,
took
like-
my clinic though, so I was
Yeah.
qualified because I knew how to do all.
No,
I
I'm
knew how to do
talking
billing.
about. I'm talking about you knew how to do it. Like you got sense, you can do it. But as far as standards,
Oh yeah.
you didn't have
For
the
a clinic, yeah. So that's what they were struggling trying to figure out. She's not really qualified to be this, a director over like health services, right? But they knew they had to because we were selling them pretty much all of our clients. They brought me on, and then they put his daughter, who it was total nepotism, working directly under me, who didn't do anything. I was so annoyed.
That's a rough place to be in because you can't be efficient and effective.
Yeah.
So what did you get from that job?
Yeah.
What do you think that the transferable thing you learned from there?
I never want to work for a company.
That was the nail in the coffin.
Mm-hmm.
So you knew from doing that, like I'm never gonna be that. I'm done with that part.
Because we kept meeting to meet so many times, and I knew how to solve the problem. I was like, no. All you have to do is. They were like, no, we're gonna table that, and we're gonna talk about that next. I was like, oh, I see how y'all get down.
So can I tell you something about that?
Okay.
The lesson in that I had to go through is learning how to work with different personalities and people, because on the entrepreneur side, if you just out running, you leave people behind.
Yeah.
So I hated that too, meetings to meet, but I realized that this meeting is not for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm already comfortable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I have to slow down and make sure everybody else is comfortable. And when you are a doer and you don't have mentorship, I will go off when I work. People who know me back, I will go off. I'll be like, wow, yeah, I'll be going off.
Yeah.
I'm like, I already got the answer, this.
I agree with that.
Yeah, but when you're looking at them, they need that comfort.
They do need the comfort, and I think that I was probably being arrogant about it.
Yeah.
Because I knew I could solve it, and I was annoyed at them, and I'm looking at them like they're dummies, but they got all these degrees.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
It's insulting.
it's insulting.
Yeah.
And they were insulted by me, and they were intimidated by me, and it was just too much.
Yeah, because all of that, you're like, I'm out.
Yeah.
So then, do we finally get to the agency?
Okay. So that ends. We're pretty much broke.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we've gone through our savings.
Oh, man.
We've done that. That was short-lived. We sell all our vans. We had about 8 vans because he had a transportation company, my ex-husband. All of that. We were doing all of that. And then, and then Andrea Dillon, she owns Bon Manger Catering in Chicago. She does catering for all the celebrities, politicians in Chicago. Really, she said, Patty, this is when she had the catering company, but it wasn't really taking off like it is right now. And she says, I want you to partner with me. She was like, because she's super talented herself. And then she was like, but I know if you partner with me, this thing is gonna do well. I was like, but I wasn't doing anything, so it was just an opportunity. And she was making me 50-50.
So she came to you.
And she knew I could cook. So I was already brought her some recipes. So because she had already taken some of my recipes that I gave her and used them in her catering. And so we went and I did a job with her one day. And I was like, I don't want to do this. That's why I was just sitting there like, I can start my own catering company. Even though she was more disciplined.
Systems, regimen, yeah.
But I was like, I don't want. She was like, but I was like, I help you.
Yeah.
But I don't want this. But when I say she's booming right now, and there's never any regret in that. It's almost like I took it as flattery. Like, wow, you would give me half of your thing because you really felt.
But your heart wouldn't have been in it.
It wasn't.
You would have did it for a minute and been like,
no,
that'd have been miserable. Then you'd have been trapped.
It was. It felt that I already saw the future of that. I knew it wasn't going to go anywhere. So I bowed out of that. I was at home, depressed. Now that's when I probably was going into a deep depression because I had just had my last son, who's 14 right now. So he's 14. He'll be 15 this year, right? So and we closed the clinic right after I probably had gave birth to him. So all my kids in modeling. Okay, they modeled the commercials and all that stuff.
What agency were they with? Do you remember?
They were initially with Arlene Wilson, and then they went to Stewart Talent. No, then they went to Elite Ford. They were Ford.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
And then from Ford, I think Ford sold their stuff off to Stewart Talent. They were with Stewart Talent. So that's a whole nother thing, right? So then my kids are going, and then sometimes they would book me.
How did they get into it? Did people say they should model, or did you seek out the modeling people?
Initially, I kind of wanted, because everybody used to compliment my first child so much, and then we went to Miami. My ex-husband's brother played for the Miami Heat. Right?
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So his name is Kendall Gill. So we spent like the whole summer in Miami, right?
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, and then
because down there, it's
especially for commercial, and that's when my daughter got signed. But I didn't tell them we live in Miami. I was just so excited that she was 2 years old, and so
she got signed.
We back to Chicago, and they're like, "We got a job for her." I was like, "I'm not in town right now."
I don't live there.
I didn't tell them that part. So then I took the pictures that she took in Miami, and I sent them to all the agencies in Chicago, and almost every one of them signed her.
So then, did you look at that and say, I could do an agency? Was it quick like that?
No. It was never like that. No. I didn't start an agency till years later.
Really?
Yeah. That happened prior to the clinic and all that stuff. So all while I had the clinic, my kids were modeling.
Oh, okay.
And acting.
So they were doing that type of stuff.
Yeah,
Oh, wow. So
that was like a side thing that my children were doing.
It wasn't even on your radar.
No. I was just a parent of a model child. Yeah.
I'm surprised because like I would see that because that's right in your purview. If you sending them all this way, you probably like, I can do this.
Yeah,
but it never had a thought.
I actually did a little modeling, but I didn't do enough to call it because then it looked like I'm just trying to be a bootleg model. But I'm just saying, so I did a little bit of it when I was younger. But my kids, they did it well, like Ford commercials and Super Bowl commercials and all that stuff.
So when did you start the agency?
So then, fast forward, my son had to be. This is probably about what are we? 2000. This had to be 2014. 2014.
Okay.
2014. My daughter, who did a Ford commercial, did a commercial with this other little girl.
How old was she at the time?
I don't know, six,
maybe
okay. Something like that.
Okay.
And maybe something like that.
Okay.
And the other daughter that was in the commercial with her was friends with this woman that had been trying to start an agency. Mm-hmm. And she said, "Can I introduce you to someone? Mm-hmm. She wants me to do this agency with her, but I don't know if I'm really interested. But could you help her?"
Okay.
And so people had already been always asking me, "Why don't you just start an agency?" Because they know my kids. I opened a boutique.
They
all
knew
these
you know
different
how to
things.
move like that. Yeah.
But I still never even really considered it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, sure, because I had been praying to God, like, God, put me in a position where I do something that I enjoy and I can use my skill set.
All of them.
Yeah, and make money instead of doing something for money. I really wanted to do something I enjoyed.
Right.
So I met this woman. We hit it off. We were not friends before. Mm-hmm. So we ended up, she was like, I want to start it. I said, oh, okay. So I started a website, thought of the name. We did all that. And the next day, so she was so blown away by
how quick you move.
Yeah. So she was looking at, I could tell, like, cha-ching was looking at, she was like you're the missing piece kind of thing, right?
Hit the lottery. Yeah.
So, because she was very popular, okay? And she was a former actress or model or whatever. Mm-hmm. And we did that. Let me fix your mic. Hold on. Put you right here because I can hear it. There you go. Go ahead. So that relationship was explosive.
How many people did you have?
No, we signed hundreds of people. People were so excited. We were the only black union franchise agency in Chicago. We came out the same time Empire had started. Oh. We started getting news covers. We were doing interviews on the TV.
That.
Yeah, she was pretty. So we had these beautiful 2 black women in Chicago doing this thing. Then Chirac came, Spike Lee scooped us up, and we was working with him, helping him, and we included he said, I need every black actor in Chicago. We literally asked all the black actors, we got all the black actors that we weren't even representing, just so they could audition for Spike. And just making it happen. And we were making it happen. So we were explosive together because she was a grinder. Like she could get, but personality wise, we were like, it was different. So how long did that run last? It lasted, that was in 2014. I moved to Chicago. I moved to Atlanta in 2016. 2 years. 2015 I came to Atlanta, and it was some terrible internal stuff that happened, and that's when we split, and she started her own agency and I started mine. So you still have yours to this day? Yes. So after that happened, you was like, I'm still gonna have it.
What did your attention focus to next? What was the next thing after the agency? You still have it, but what was...
Well, no, so that's the agency, and then I was going through, when I was in Atlanta, I was going through a divorce all while I was breaking up in the agency. It was, when I say I was walking on hot coals with no shoes on. It was bad. I didn't even have any money. Like, it was terrible. And I was going through a divorce. I had 4 kids I had to take care of in a new city, started a new office. It was rough.
So do you feel, for the people in the audience, do you think God carried you through that time? Was he carrying you?
A gazillion%, because I wasn't even carrying myself. Like, I wasn't even...
So in that moment, did you know it was God, or what did you feel?
I always know it's God.
You always know it was him?
I always know it's him.
Was you going to church during that time, or no? Because you was in a new city, probably not.
No, I wasn't really going to church. No, I was going. I was taking the kids to church. But I was kind of going in and out. I was going to church a lot right before I came to Atlanta, though. I was running the media.
That's another position.
Yeah, so I was doing the media for the Pastor Sean for Giant Steps. I was doing the whole media thing. We had made little mini movies. It's kind of like a Eugene story, and I had made movies, and I did these commercials.
When you was going through all of that.
So let me tell you. So back up.
Go ahead.
He's on Fox now. He's not even pastor anymore. He's Sean McMillan, right? He's extremely talented, gifted pastor. When I first started going to the church, he came. He said we wanted to take him to dinner because it was so profound. His sermon. He's very talented, and he said, "I want you to manage me."
He just told you that.
I said, "This is before the agency," and I was like, "Okay, I never managed anybody before, but."
What do you think he saw on you?
He said, "God is telling me something is on you." He said, "I want you to manage me."
And you did.
And I thought it was such an honor.
And here's the crazy part: did you ask for steps, a booklet, procedures? Did you? How did you know? How did you know what to do?
I didn't. I went and bought a Canon 7D. Because my ex-husband at the time was just enthralled, and I was like, "Well," he said, he needs to be on TV because his ministry was so strong. I was like, "Okay, so what do we need to do?" He was like, "You probably got to get a camera." So Kevin, my ex-husband, was just like, as far as like, he's a techie, camera guy or whatever. So we went and got this camera, did all that, and that's when I kind of started my vlog on my journey because my kids kept asking about my mother. Because they were like, "So our mother is she Chinese?" I was like, "No, she's Korean." Like, but they didn't have anything to connect it with, So
you was led on your family side to do all of this stuff. It seemed like multiple fronts that was happening at the same time.
Yeah.
Now, where were your friends during this time? Because you had moved to a new city. Had you made new people, or where were your friends at?
My friends were... That's a good question. I mean, April, who runs the Chicago agency, she's my friend. Genya had made new friends with her. She's the partner. She runs the Atlanta. She's part owner of the Atlanta agency, the one who was here earlier.
The one that just was sitting
Genya.
there. And I should have interviewed her till she left.
You should have.
She ran out of here.
Oh, okay.
So you had a support.
I always had good friends.
Okay.
I mean, like, honestly, that could probably carry me through high school because they all had good parents.
So you were able to.
So I kind of like their parents. They loved me. All their parents loved me. So
let me ask you this: in all of this you're happening, why do you think you never came across a mentor?
You know what happened? Robin Robinson, she used to be a Fox anchor.
I remember her.
So this is after I closed the boutique. And she had a mentoring program for girls.
Oh, really? Okay.
And she asked me to be a mentor. I had never been a mentor before, and because it was mentoring these girls in Inglewood, and she knew that's where I was from. And I remember it was just like this little hoity-toity luncheon downtown. Mostly everyone in there is from the news, entertainment, they're producers, executive, like a lot of them were white women. Some were black women, principals and things of that sort. And everybody had to get up to introduce themselves and what they did.
What did you say?
When I said I broke down, I could not stop crying.
Really?
That was a life-changing moment. I broke down because I felt so unworthy, and I felt like a fraud. Like, what am I doing here? Like, all these accomplished women, and I think I had a boutique at the time. And I was like, why do you want me? I felt so crazy. And then I even felt crazy because I was crying and I couldn't stop. So I was like,
when I hear that, it sounds like when somebody is anointed to do something, like God qualifies people.
I mean, that's my story all day.
Yeah, because it's like I'm not supposed to be here, but I have favor, and God needs me to be here in this moment.
And
I don't have anything else for
everybody's staring
you.
at me. Yeah.
So what'd you end up saying?
Staring at me as I'm crying. Like, I'm just so embarrassed because I'm like, I'm a whole fool up here crying, and these professional women. And I don't know why. I own this boutique. I'm actually the only one here from Inglewood. I was the only one there that actually grew up from there. To the point where I was toe up that whole day. And that just kind of probably changed my life because I think I felt the first time somewhat unworthy. Like, I don't feel worthy. Like, what did she see in me that she wanted me to be a mentor?
So, your gift will make room for you and put you in front of great men. It's in Proverbs. And when you have a gifting, and when your faith grows when you just let God be God. Yeah. And when you let God be God, you don't worry about the credentials and all this and that. And it is overwhelming because you like, I don't have this, but God loves me so much. Yeah. And it's like he loves me to put me in this position. Yeah. And it's an overwhelming feeling.
It is.
And I think the unworthy part, you're right when you think in the natural, but in the spiritual, people see stuff, they see an anointing. Yeah. And when you anointed, when I hear you tell your story, and I appreciate you telling it, sounds like such an anointed person. And the stuff that would have killed people.
You about to make me cry now.
The stuff that would have killed people. I thought I was healed. The stuff that would have killed people, man, you endure. And I think your life and the lessons are going to encourage so many women and people because they might share those and they might think I'm crazy. I don't have it figured out. And they're going to hear your story like, God is with me. Because he never left you. And I feel like you have and then me meeting you, you've always been so positive and willing to share because the story is not, it's not necessarily for you, it's for others. I agree. And it's the testimony. Yeah. And one of my things, what God has called me to do, and I do stuff for my church, is to share testimonies. And the way I pull testimonies out is by hearing the story and we talk about it because that's the testimony. Yeah. And it's not like we got to get in front of church and give honor to God. I know. You can do it that way if you want. I'm not against that. Yeah. But these type of stories can minister so much more. Yeah. Because it's like this is a real thing and it's a lot of people I know that think about all these business ideas. They got stuff going on and where's God, this and that. But when you can acknowledge him in it and see his presence and then you keep seeing him show up because as we reflect we see how God has always been with us. But in the moment you might not, but afterwards you do.
I'm old enough and wise enough now because I've gone through so many things that I know I still see. I know God is there. It's like, but I just like he wants to update my testimony. Like I'm going through stuff right now. I'm like, I guess I need a 2024 testimony. I'm like, Lord have mercy. Like I've had enough. Like,
it's
God, I'm really good. Like you really want to update my testimony. Okay.
And the thing is, I think all of that stuff though is designed to let us lean on him. Yeah. Because it's going to keep happening. I know. It's going to keep happening and it's really testing what you made of and your resolve. Yeah. Because a lot of times if nothing is happening, you're probably doing nothing.
I'm just an optimistic person. Like I can't even connect with people that are negative.
And the thing is, you have every reason not to be.
That's, what's so crazy, and I'm not going to curse, but a lot of times when people first hear my story, they're like, I'm surprised you're not effed up. No, those are the words. Those are the exact words. They're like, you're not effed up. They're like in shock, And so, and that's even like, of course I didn't have my mother for the most of my life. And then I would hear people grunting and talking about their mom. And I was like, I ain't even got a mother to argue with. And then they would get quiet. Like, Jesus Christ. I'm just grateful.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the bigger testimony is that you're living currently in a space where you have all the reason to be one way and you choosing not to be. Every day you choose not to be. And I think you're showing that it's possible because other people grow up in that situation. They're bitter, they're angry, they're mean, their attitude is away. And then when they share their testimony, you like, that's why you so mean. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I also think that I had to contribute my grandmother because, even though I hated going to church and made up reasons to not go, that saved me. It was a storefront church. They had me paint the sign. That's how small it was. It was on 79th Street. And I misspelled pastor.
How'd you spell it?
I spelled it Pasteur, pastor, like chicken in Spanish.
Oh my God, pastor.
Yeah, it was pastor.
That was a sign.
Yeah, someone that wrote a note and put it on the storefront door and said, "You misspelled pastor." I was like, I didn't know. You know, the elders didn't tell me. So anyway, but what I'm saying is that's how small the church was. But that church probably saved me because it was just listening to the word and just being grounded. Because if you don't have a spiritual background, you are lost. When I say you are lost, you can go through your season of whatever and rebellion and all that stuff, but you'll come back. You know,
yeah, if it's in you.
That's 1,000%. And I know that is definitely one of the things that I have to give credit for.
So what's your favorite scripture?
All things work together for the good of God that love him.
And a call according to his purpose.
Period. That's it.
What does that mean to you?
That it's gonna work out. Like every bit of it. Like your lights got turned off, it's gonna work out. You know, it's something you had to draw from that. You had to experience it or something. So everything that in my life that seems so horrible, I can relate to. I have compassion. I have empathy for people. I understand it. Sometimes to a fault, you know, but I understand. You know, and a lot of times people think I'm so cold or unapproachable until they meet me.
Then they know.
And then I tell them a little bit of anything. Then they're like, oh.
Then they get it. So last question.
Okay.
What's the next step for you? What you got next? You done had all of these wonderful adventures. Could be a movie. Could be a webisode.
Well,
it's
that's what I want.
What's next?
I resigned from the agency.
Okay.
I'm just consulting, and then I have to.
Okay.
And my daughter replaced me
All right.
for Gill Talent Group. And it's owned by Jolie Gill, Genya Nooks, April Williams, and Gabrielle Union.
I was gonna say, really? What happened? Okay.
Gabrielle Holder. She's out of New York. She runs the New York office. And I am producing full time. You know, I just produced 2 movies in the last 2 years, full features. They'll both be on All Black. And hopefully.
So back up. So you did, these was things you also just did with no training. The movies.
But I mean, yeah, I mean, it's unless you go to school for film, it, like we said before, it's all kind of like trial and error. And the media thing that I did when I was in church kind of helped set me up. And I'm a student.
You're a student of life.
Yeah. So, and certain things I just get.
So more movies is coming up next. You're going to do more movies.
I want to do more movies and more series. I want TV series, and I want to just bring stories to life, real people's stories to life. That's going to just change lives, because I think art changed lives more than anything.
I agree. Well, thank you for sharing your story. It was wonderful.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
it was long. You're going to have to edit
I'm going to
that.
chop it up. It's going to be different. But thank
okay,
y'all
good.
for watching. Take the lessons with it. Amen. Thank y'all.